Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We got another little video. We're going to be updating the World Cup. All right. We've had about third, maybe 30% of the second games played, but all of the host countries have played their second game, and it is looking good for the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It really is. So we're going to do a little sum up of that, and then we're going to talk actually about what I think is the dark horse hot story for the World Cup. In most World Cups, kind of have one or two narratives that become popular, either during them or afterwards, as we'll talk about basically in it. But let's first get into what's been happening. Okay, if we take a look at what happened, Group A had their second games, and it went almost exactly as expected. Um, to make matters worse for both the Czech Republic and South Africa, they tied, and one of them, if they really wanted a good chance, needed the win. They needed the victory, um, and they didn't. They only got a tie, which puts them in a bad spot. Okay, because South Korea just needs not to lose, and they're the second seed. Furthermore, South Korea cannot be the first seed. Mexico locked it up. Their victory over South Korea locked up the group. We already know Mexico is the first seed from Group A. And South Korea is very likely the second seed as predicted, um, because they they would have to lose their next battle. All right, they'd have to lose their next match in order for that to happen. And then point value wise, um, they would actually lose it. But if they just draw, uh, they've got it no matter what, because they'll have the tie then at four, and the best any of these teams can do is 4 points. They own the tiebreaker. If they don't lose and just tie, they own the tiebreaker against the other team that could possibly be tied with them. Okay, so probably South Korea second, hasn't locked it in yet. Mexico locked in first place. And Group B, once again, it went exactly as we thought it would be. Canada and Switzerland ended up actually winning instead of tying, which was amazing that they had a draw against those teams, but they did. All right. Um, Technically, they haven't locked it up, the two of them. Realistically, they have, and that's because the point differential is so huge. Canada has a +6 point differential. Switzerland has a +3. The next best team is -3. That's a 6 goal difference. When does that happen in a World Cup game? When do you get 6 goals in one score, one game? I mean, and I guess technically Switzerland could lose by enough points to help bring that down. Like Switzerland loses by 3, and we win by 3, and now, bam, But yeah, not likely. Okay, like it's just not likely. Switzerland will be facing Canada, and winner takes the division. If Canada ties, they have the better point differential, and they'll end up actually being the first seed instead of Switzerland. There's, I don't expect it to be an aggressive game because a tie sends both of them on. Uh, a draw, they both go on. Switzerland has to win in order to be first seed, and even if they do win, Canada's point differential will probably be so high that they're going to be the second seed. All right, Group C also had a play totally by script. Brazil and Morocco beat up on the other two teams, and that's just going to be the script now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Scotland. I love you. My family actually is from Scotland. My last name is actually we're sept of the McDonald clan. But Brazil and Morocco are head and shoulders above the other two teams, and they'll win again, and then it becomes point differential, which, as I predicted, Brazil would have a better point differential, and probably become first. Group D, United States clinched it. They're they're number one. They won it already. The only two teams that could tie them on points, they have both already beat, and the head to head is the first tiebreaker. So they're winning the tiebreaker against the only two teams that could possibly tie them. So they can even lose to Turkey, and they'll still be the first seed here. Um, and they'll probably not play their best player. They'll probably not play a single player that has a yellow card. Why take the risk? You're still going to be first seed even if you lose. All right. Don't watch them to play tight. This game, I actually read a website that said this is a game to watch. It's not going to be a game to watch. All right. I'm in the United States, so I'll probably watch it because I watch all the U.S. games. But no, it's not one to watch. The U.S. will actually aim for a tie. If they get a win, sure, yay. But no. Uh, and then we get Group E. We've had one game, Germany versus Ivory Coast. That was an amazing game. No one expected Ivory Coast to almost stick it to Germany. They they were either tied or ahead for most of the game. It was in stoppage minutes that Germany actually did take the lead and pull off the victory. This more than ever just just confirms to me the fact that they're going to be the top two. Um, I guess technically Ivory Coast losing and Ecuador or Curacao winning could end up putting them ahead. The chances of that happening are just very, very small. Yes, Ivory Coast could lose, and the team they lose to will keep them out from the second seed. But that's really the only scenario. Is um, and Germany still has to play. No, Germany has locked up first seed too. So literally the first seeds for 3 of the 5 groups who have played their second game, we already know. It's locked. Germany's a first seed, United States is a first seed, Mexico is a first seed. All right. Um Group C and B aren't quite as locked up. There is a Hail Mary chance of, you know, Switzerland maybe not making it. I don't know how any of those teams beat the point differential for Canada. And Canada either has a tie or win against those other two teams, so they're going to win the the tiebreakers. Maybe I guess Switzerland if Canada beats them up pretty badly, and yeah, but probably it's Switzerland, Canada, and once again Brazil and Morocco are almost definitely shoo-ins for it. Yes, Scotland does have a victory and could uh, win amazingly. But there's no incentive to play soft for Brazil and Morocco in either one of these two because they're tied in points. All right, the only like if Brazil wins, they're going to be number. They're almost definitely going to be number one. But if they don't win by enough and Morocco wins by a lot, oops. So, um, while Group C, once again, mathematically, we don't know for sure, and we definitely don't know who's first among B or C. We kind of know where they're going. All right. Uh, wow, this video has gotten quite long. So let's go into the other thing, and that's the story, because that gets into Group E. Almost every World Cup has a story, some narrative that kind of rises to the top. Like the one in 2022 was Morocco and Croatia. Okay, Morocco was the first African country to make it to the semis. All right, Croatia was a second seed that made it to the semis, and then you had 2 teams from the same group playing each other for third place. Um, it was crazy. That was what these dark horse Teams made it, and it was great. In 2018, Russia was the fact they were the host. They were the lowest ranked team in the World Cup, and they actually got all the way to quarterfinals. That was an amazing hit. In 2014, it was uh, uh, you know the fact that Costa Rica was like the little country that could, and it took down Italy and England in group play, and then got all the way to quarterfinals as well. Um, and the only other one was, is Messi actually going to win it? And then he didn't. Um, and then in 2010, the narrative was corruption. That was the narrative, and it came afterwards. But like just the fact that South Africa almost got it taken away from them because they didn't look like they were going to pull it off. It that so World Cups have a narrative, and I think the narrative for this one, at least the Darkhorse one, is Ivory Coast. They won their first one. They almost beat Germany. If they become the second seed, that is going to be the narrative. They are the dark horse team, and they're really the only team I've seen who's dramatically overperformed. There might be another one. We still, we still have 2 games to go for a lot of teams, but that's really where I think the narrative is. And so that's my take so far. I'll be back in a few days with another take and let you know what I think.